Cardone here. Welcome to a new episode of Power Players. Today, not only do I have a power player here, but a friend of long. I mean, this guy's watched my whole career. Louie Heron with 2 R's, stronger than death, dude. This guy's got a great story. He's also got a book, Driven by Fire. Where can they get it?
DrivenByFire.com is the website, or you can go to Amazon, you can go to iTunes.
Dude, DrivenByFire.com.
That's where they want to go.
Keep it simple, stupid, okay?
See the stats.
So look, Louie, great to have you in the studio, man. I know you were born here in Miami, right?
Yeah,
you got the Miami colors on?
That's in the book. I'm gonna buy them. I'm buying them by 65. I know Gary Vee says he's buying the Jets. I'm buying the Dolphins by 65.
Well, if Gary Vee's going to buy the Jets, he ought to buy them this year because they're worth nothing, all right? So, and the Dolphins are right behind them.
I know.
I wouldn't even wear that jersey.
But I wear it with pride. That's how you know I'm a lifelong fan.
I'm like, you guys, you're terrible.
We're gonna get better. We're gonna get better. You got to stick with them, man. Hey,
stick and stay.
Look, that's what your mother said, right?
Yeah, that's right.
That's exactly right. But hey, I was terrible back in the day.
Dude, I can already tell this guy's driven by fire.
But you don't know it.
Okay, I love the name of the book, man. So, before we get into the book, man, I know you got a story. We got some similarities, right?
Sure.
So tell me about where you grew up, Louie, and
how I got in the car business, or how far.
Yeah,
what do you want to take
now? What are you doing now?
I own Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram dealership in Madison, Georgia, which is right outside of Atlanta.
Okay.
I had a Toyota dealership, sold it.
Yeah.
And then.
So this is a car dealer, man.
Yeah.
And you guys know that. I mean, some of these car dealerships run for millions of dollars to hundreds of millions of dollars. So it's a hard game to play. It's very competitive.
Very.
And so where did you come from? Where did you grow up?
And that's part of the thing about getting in the car business, and we can talk about the difficulty of actually buying one. But born right here in Miami, Florida. Yeah. I mean, I'm in your backyard. This is where I was born and raised.
No,
Puerto Rican and Italian.
Okay, same thing.
Yeah, same thing, brother. Right?
Cuban, Puerto Rican, Italian.
So, born in Miami, Jackson, but I was raised in Hollywood, Hallandale, Pembroke Pines, Miramar area.
Yeah.
Went to school here, and basically. You
grew up middle class, poor. I mean, where were you?
My dad, my father split when I was like 3 years old. I never met him until I was like 25. But my stepfather, who I refer to as my dad, he raised me. So I mean, he is my dad. That individual, he's a roofer here locally. He owns J&K Roofing, does a great job. A little plug for him.
Maybe.
Absolutely.
I need a roof.
Yeah, you need to call him. You need to call him. But
he needs to call me, one of the two.
Yeah. So anyways, growing up in that environment, I was the oldest of 5, and unfortunately, my mother she had a drug issue. She had an alcohol problem.
Is that why the dad left?
I don't know. I don't know the real reason why. I don't know why.
I mean, that's a good reason.
It probably could be.
It
probably could be.
It's kind of crazy here.
Yeah. So basically, the house I lived in was a little chaotic growing up.
Yeah.
I mean, she was
5 kids. Mom's a junkie.
So she wasn't really present. She wasn't really in the moment. My dad he's a workaholic. I mean, I never saw him. I mean, we saw him on Sundays.
The biological dad.
No, the one that raised me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He is my dad. With the biological, he's not even in the picture to this day.
Okay.
I've met him, but that's about it.
Yeah.
So, but he was tough. I mean, he was, being the oldest.
Which one? The biological?
No, the one that I.
Oh, the stepdad, the work addict.
There you go. Yeah.
10X guy.
Yeah, 10X. Yeah, it was tough. And so hot-headed, temper. So growing up was basically, I mean, he was pretty tough. If you could read between the lines, he was tough. I mean, mom, dad, they'd fight. Again, she would lie and drink, and then it just caused just chaos all the time.
Right.
So as I got older, I knew I needed to get out of that situation. Mm-hmm. So, the vehicle I chose was football. So I had my sights set on.
You built for it, man.
I was bigger then. I was bigger in college.
Get a little bigger here.
Yeah. So I wanted to play football, and I had a dream to play for University of Florida. Wasn't good enough to do that. I ended up playing at Liberty University for a year. And I ended up transferring to West Georgia, which is how I got to Georgia to begin with, because a guy that played in front of me went on to play for the Broncos for 12 seasons, so he's a little better than I was. So I transferred because I wasn't going to play as fast as I thought I could. So anyways, I go there. I play 3 years.
Was that a big disappointment?
Oh, it's huge letdown. Yeah,
you still look back on that?
No, because I realized, much like what you talk about, I realize now that every circumstance really is a gift disguised in what we call circumstance. I mean, it's to me.
But man, I thought I was going to be a professional baseball player. I mean, I look back.
You said in your book you were a catcher.
Yeah, I was a catcher. I wasn't fast enough. I wasn't strong enough. I didn't have the arm. Couldn't hit.
Yeah.
But dude, I still look back and say, damn, man, I wish I could have got a couple of years in the majors. I'm
gonna tell you what I will tell you. Honest and truly, I felt like if I know now the type of intensity, work ethic, like for example, I was a long snapper in college and I played tight end. I was a little slow, but I could have made it in the NFL, I believe, by long snapping, but I would have had to have snapped 200 balls a day, and I would have done it. That. If I'd have just snapped.
You're saying if you look back now and you had the understanding of the work ethic required, it would have overcome the talent.
Absolutely.
I agree with that. Man.
I would have just I would have just snapped 200, 300, 400 balls a day.
I didn't work hard enough.
Yeah.
Nobody was pushing me to work harder.
Right.
That I could make it. They were just hard on me. Said you'll never make it.
Right. So I ended up dropping out.
Yeah. And you dropped out of the college.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was done with eligibility. But I had another year left. I was going to be a coach and a teacher, right? What every athlete does, right? I love it. I love the kids. Still love the kids. So I get out of that and I start waiting. I mean, I start loading trucks at Lowe's distribution plant, right? So I'm thinking, but I didn't want to go back home. That was that. We talk about the why. My why was, man, I'm not going back home because my dad wasn't a big proponent of college, anyways. He's like, you're going to go 4 years. You're going to be a teacher and a coach. What are we doing? Like we're going to pay all this money, and that's what you. He wasn't downgrading. He was just saying, look,
the math doesn't work.
The math doesn't work. So he wasn't supportive, but he had rationale behind it. But but I didn't want to go home and say, hey, you were right. You know what I'm saying? So I ended up getting a second job waiting tables at Chili's. That's where I meet a guy that was a finance director at a Honda dealership. And I'm 20 years old, and that's where it began. And so the cool part of the thing
So you're serving food at Chili's.
Serving food.
Yeah. Were you any good at that?
Yeah, I was talkative, but I wasn't really out there like I am now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, I failed speech in college. I mean, I wasn't like get out in front of the camera kind of guy initially.
Yeah.
But this guy he was a Miami-Dade
But I mean,
Metro.
were you a good waiter, dude? Did you work on your skills? Did you get the second sale? Did you greet people properly?
Let me tell you what I was. I was terrified that I would get a wrong order, so I would memorize the menu. To make sure I knew exactly what was on there so I could offer. That was one of the things that I remember doing. I could offer things and I'd know them like this without having to look at the menu. You know?
Yeah.
But so this guy was a Metro-Dade Miami cop, formerly, and I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. So he comes in and he knows I'm from Miami. So every time he would come in afterwards, he said, give me the kid from Miami. I want the kid from Miami. So I ended up waiting on this guy, and that's how he got me in the car business. He said, you need to get in the car business. So at 20 years old, I get in the car business. Don't know anything. Don't know nothing about the car business. I never thought about being in the car business. Father's not in the industry. He's a roofer.
Yeah.
And I get down and I start seeing the money people are making, and I'm like, dude, I can do this. So I took all the same work ethic and stuff that I needed to do in football that didn't make it and applied it because people in the car business are lazy.
Name of the book, folks, is Driven by Fire. I like the name, dude. Hey, welcome back to Power Players. Grant Cardone here. Louie, my buddy Louie H, okay? The book is Driven by Fire. He's sitting with us today on Power Players. This guy came from a troubled. You guys think you got trouble? Come on, man. Mama's an addict. Daddy leaves. New daddy's hard.
Yeah,
5 kids.
He was tough, but I'll tell you, in hindsight, looking back, I remember, and I put this in the book, he used to wake up, he'd go to work at 4:45 every morning, right? So
beat the sun up.
He'd beat the sun up, and he'd get up, and he'd say, he'd come in the room, flick the lights on, and rip the covers off, and say, sleep for broke people, get up. Get up. He would always say that. So there are certain things that I can remember looking back now that I didn't understand as a kid. I'm like, dude, I'm trying to sleep, you know. But you know, he was always working. You know, always up early, always come home late. Owned his own business, being a roofer. You know, owned the roofing company.
He's a work dude, man.
Man, he's a beast. He really is.
How's he done in his life?
He's done well. I mean, you know, I still have a good relationship with him. But we don't talk all the time, kind of thing. When I'm down down here, I'll visit. But you know, he's still. I don't know how great or not great he's doing. I know business-wise, he's doing fine.
Yeah. Okay, so here you are, 18. Mm-hmm. You're blowing out of college. Get the car business at 20.
Yep.
I'm tracking you, man.
You tracking with me?
So what happens?
So here's the deal.
You weren't born to be a car salesman. Who is, right?
No one's no. You know. So I look at the situation and I was amazed at the money these salespeople were making, managers. So I thought to myself, if I make $3,000 a month, I'm cooking with gas. I'm making $40,000 a year. I'm good. Until I realized what they were making. So, anyways, you know, I got into business in '95. By '97. You know, honestly, not because we're doing this. '97, I got a hold of your material, and every time you were in Atlanta from '97, man, to 2001, I'm there. I'm doing the deal. Same workbook. I'm doing the same notes. You know,
same workbook. You know? I used the same workbook for probably 7 or 8 years.
Same clothes. You used to have the little slides. You used to put the slides on the overhead projector.
Slides overhead. Come on, bring it on in. Bring it on in.
No technology.
Well, what's technology, man? What do you mean?
But
man? That was some good technology, dude. Come on.
So, anyways, basically, here's the deal. So I start telling people.
Wait a minute, man. Let's talk about this, okay? Here's 19 1997.
Yep.
I'm 29 years old, 30 years old, maybe 31.
Right.
How old are you?
Now or then?
Then.
I was 20.
So I'm only 10 years older than you. What are you,
Right.
48?
42.
42. So I'm 16 years older than you.
Yeah.
So I'm doing these seminars. I don't even know. Louie's in the room.
Right.
A couple hundred people.
Front
there.
row, baby, taking notes.
Yeah. Awesome, dude. I still remember you sitting up there, bro. Okay, because you always stood out, man. It was obvious you had power. Like you were what were you looking for, Louie? Why did you come to the seminar and other guys wouldn't?
Man, for me, it's I want to be the best human being I can be on the planet. I mean, it's a drive and a desire to make sure, God put me on this earth for a reason. I always say, He didn't put me on this earth to procreate, recreate, do deals and die. I mean, there's some reason why I'm here.
Yeah.
And I want to fulfill that. So I'm always, seeking. My faith's a huge part of my life. So I just want to be the best.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter if I got in the
Dude,
mortgage business.
Why do other people have faith? And I don't get that from them. They don't want to be the best. They don't find themselves in the front row of a conference at 20 years old. And then again at 20, dude, you can't, every time I went to Atlanta, you were there.
I know. You know what? It's I don't know. Like like I said.
Why though, man? I mean, you got. This
It's
isn't
the same.
about God
Okay,
blessing
no.
you, because God blessed them too.
No, everyone's blessed.
So a guy told me the other day, he's like, God bless you, Grant. I said, God bless us
Okay,
all,
let me give you a religious analogy, right?
please.
So the parable of talents, right? The analogy where God gave 5, 3, and 1 to 3 different people, right?
Okay.
Based on their abilities and skills, He gave them all something different, right? So the guy that got 1's kind of probably bitching, why didn't I get 5? Well, based on your abilities, this is what I gave you. So He wanted everyone to get a return on that. So the guy that had 5 made it 10. The guy that had 3 made 6. The guy that had 1 buried it to keep it safe. Right. So the point is, when you say why other people, I don't know. I mean, when I understand that whatever God gave me, you better use it, or He'll give it to somebody else. He wants a return on his investment, if that makes sense. God says, Louie, I gave you so much skills and ability.
Man. God's a banker, dude.
That's it.
God's a freaking hedge fund of spirituality. He's like, I want a return on my investment.
Does that make sense, though?
It totally makes sense,
Yeah,
dude. I love that.
That's what I'm saying.
I love that
That's what I'm
because
saying.
you know what? I'm driven by fire.
love it.
I'm driven by fire. Okay, so look, here you are. You started learning the car business from the ground, as a salesman. You were out there slinging freaking metal when it was still metal.
Well, here's the funny thing. So, at 20 years old, about that time, after a year of selling, I said, I want to be a manager. I want to be general sales manager. Then I started talking about being a general manager. But the minute I started saying, hey, I want to own one of these, I got the old tap on the head. That's so cute. You're so young and cute. That's because really, like we talked about at the very beginning,
you got
if your dad's
not by the GM.
All of them thought it was cute. Like you feel with all this emotion and energy, you got so much enthusiasm, and of course they don't understand it, and it's almost who knows what they feel about it.
These are the naysayers I talk about in BXS.
And they give you fuel. They really charge you, and so basically, if your daddy doesn't own a car business, it's pretty challenging to spend 3, 4, 5, 8, 10, 12, $30 million when you're a 20-year-old kid. But going back, just to the core I always believe in Proverbs 3:5. It says, lean not on my own understanding, but acknowledge God in all your ways. He'll direct the path. Go back to what you always say. Once I made the decision, this is what I'm doing, I don't worry about the how. I just say, look, you know what? I believe I know where I'm going. I'm not worried about the plan so much that I know it's something that I'm going to go get. And that's what I did. So I just started by 22, sales manager, GM by 28, partner at 32, owned my first store at 35. Second store, blessed, baby.
Only in America, baby.
It's a beautiful thing, right?
And only if you got heart and driven by fire.
That's it, baby.
Okay, because you got to have those things. That King guy, Don King, he's like, only in America. I'm like, yeah, but you did it.
That's right.
It took some hard work. So, you buy your first car dealership, or you go in as a partner. How much money was that?
I borrowed against my house. I was total of
power player.
That's it, man. I borrowed everything I had, and I put in. It was a total of $340, but I had a note of another $240.
Yeah.
So it was a total of $600 grand.
So he borrows against a house that doesn't produce income.
That's correct.
Suicide, man. I'm talking crazy. Okay,
Yeah.
This guy's all in. He's like, let's just jump overboard, and then borrows another $240 on top of that.
Yeah.
And that was going to be paid back on the production of the dealership. So you're really
here's what I did. I took it, if I recall correctly, $480 was the whole deal. Put $100,000 in. $380 was on a note. Had 10% of the deal. I get into the deal. The store's doing.
Everybody understands. Just so y'all understand, he has to produce in order to pay that note.
Correct.
They sweep all that. So he's really a high-end slave.
Yeah. Right.
That's got handcuffs.
So here's the deal. The store's doing 100 cars a month.
Yeah.
I get in there. with the team that I had, we put it together. We're selling 220, 230, 240 in 90 days. Just boom. Mm-hmm. So after about 6 or 7 months, I go back to the wife and I say, hey, we need to take our money out of our 401k and get as much percent as we can, because I negotiated the deal where I could buy more percent without having the note paid. So we went in and took more money and bought 30% of the deal. Mm-hmm. And then 3 years later, she wanted to sell the deal. I didn't have enough money to buy the deal.
She wanted to sell it?
Yeah. She, Miss Taylor, out of Augusta.
Ann
Taylor.
The dealer.
Good, yeah. She was my dealer.
And you didn't have enough piece in the deal to determine the outcome of it.
No, I was 30%.
You'd a tail.
No.
You'd a tail. Huh?
I didn't have enough to make the deal fly, but the good news was I paid out.
This is what happens, baby. This is what happens, man. This is what happens. This is Power Player. Stay with us. Hey, Grant Cardone here. I'm with my friend Louie Heron. Is it Heron?
Heron, baby.
Heron, man. Like heroin.
Like the bird, babe.
Like heron.
Heron.
Dude, I'm buying a place called Heron Point right now.
There you go. So you folks from Louisiana, you got that accent. You say words that
weird, dude. But the name of the joint's Heron Point.
All right.
I'm changing the name.
You gonna make it Heron Run?
No. Heroes Point.
I like it.
I'm gonna raise the rents just on the name change.
Wow.
I'm just gonna take an N off.
Wow.
Just drop the N off. Hero. I'm not gonna even have an E in there, dude.
Strong.
Okay, so dude, I love this book, bro. Okay? I love the book. I love the idea. Driven by Fire.
.com. That's the website.
Drivenbyfire.com, okay? That's where you can buy the book. And I want you to buy the book today. Just go get it, man. Look, if you never read the book, in the title, just the title like, oh yeah, that dude did it. Guy buys makes $3 million in his first deal because he committed and didn't know what to do. He committed all in, all the way, probably took the wife over the brink.
We had some discussions, but in the end she was supportive. In the end she was definitely supportive.
So, bro, what are you doing now with all your newfound success and everything that's happening? Is it all good for Louie?
You know what? Believe it or not, in owning a car dealership, you have some challenges. So I've recently had a situation at the dealership that's not so pleasant that I got to deal with. A couple of employees, and look, I'm running this store. Looking to expand down the road. Got the book out. Love talking to kids. Want to do multifamily. Try to set myself up. I mean, I like how you term it indestructible wealth. I want to be in a position to where something happens. It may be a dent, but it doesn't rock your world. You know what I'm saying? You want to get to that point for my family, my children, and make sure that I have myself set up. But I mean, look, I'm pumping and grinding, man.
So, dude, how does somebody out there that's lost, I know it hadn't been all good for you,
no,
right? How do you find the fire, man, when it feels like the world's just throwing buckets of water on you?
I think the biggest thing from my past experience is really it's the wiring. First of all, I think
so. I don't have a choice.
No. Here's what I'm saying. First of all, it's the understanding, number one, that bad things don't happen to good people or bad people that happen to all people. So bad things are coming. So you have to know. It doesn't matter how your run goes. At some point in the run, it's going to be a log in the road. But once you realize that, I think you got to wire yourself. So again, reading and really just conditioning your mind of understanding, how do I have that persistent mindset? It doesn't come overnight. I wasn't born that way. I wasn't out of the womb going, hey, I'm a positive, guy that can, deal with struggle. So you have to train yourself. And so there's two ways of doing it. You can practice by getting the knowledge and information to help train your brain, or you can go ahead and just take the tough road and get bumped around a little bit and learn it the hard way. But I think it's in every single one of us. It's in every single one of us on how to overcome stuff that happens to you. You just got to go make sure you're
worst thing that's ever happened to you?
Probably my divorce.
Yeah.
Devastating.
Yeah.
20 years with somebody, and that'll set you back. I mean,
no matter what. I mean, they don't teach you to. You don't go to school for that one.
No, that's a toughie.
Because you're sitting there creating on that thing all the time. Even when you're not really working hard on it, you're creating on that relationship, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, it's gone. Even if it was time for it to be gone,
right.
It hurts, right?
Yeah. I mean, the two things when you ask that question come to mind. When I left the house at 18, never been back home since. Being on my own as an 18-year-old, like I think of my kids now, and I'm thinking, man, if they were 18 by themselves, man, how would they do it? Like I'm in my mind,
could they make it, man?
Man, I'm doing my best to make sure they're prepared. You know what I'm saying? Because my kids need to be better than me, right? You want Scarlett and Sabrina to be the same way, right? You want your sealing their floor, right?
I mean, I don't know, man.
You know?
Well, that's up to them, dude. It's like I tell Elaine all the time. I'm like, look, you can only do so much for a kid.
Right.
My mom. There's nothing. if my mother took responsibility for how I was as a teenager, she'd be like, oh my God, I did a terrible job. She couldn't have changed anything. Nothing my mother could have done would have changed any of my choices I would have made. So I don't know how much, I think the parent can influence the kid, but at some point the kid just does whatever they do.
I think kids...
See, you turned out good, dude, and you came from bad circumstances.
I know, and I think all kids should have some kind of experience like you've had, like I've had, many others. There's that one point where you're like, like when you had power players with Eric Thomas, that one point where you make that switch, you have something. Yeah. I think I hope that for my kids, but not in a devastating fashion, but that's the only way they can really buck up and learn how to tighten up the boots. And
say, hey, wake up, man.
Exactly.
Only broke people sleep in. Is that what he said?
Sleep is for broke people, man.
Folks, the book is Driven by Fire. Okay, imagine if you could have your fire no matter what was going on, the good, the bad, the other. This is what Louie told me today. This is what I learned. Bad things happen to all people. I like that. Do you like that, Robert? I like that. I always say bad things happen to good people. Bad things happen to everybody. It's just a matter of when it's going to happen. Who'd you vote for this Trump? You voted for the Trump?
Oh, yeah.
You liked him, dude?
You
liked him, or you just didn't like the other choices?
I didn't like the other choices. I definitely support Trump. I'm more kind of an independent kind of guy, libertarian to be honest with you. I just kind of like to be left alone my preference. But I'm hopefully he's going to do some good things. You know, I mean, hopefully he'll do some things for the economy and taxes. And
this dude believes in work, dude. Beat the sun up. He's already beat the odds. Okay. He says, be the best you can be. And I want you to take me out on some kind of biblical, something you got out of this today, that you would go back to the big book and say, hey, that's what it says about what we did today.
Well, I would say what came to mind when you said that is simply this: Ephesians 2:10. It just basically says, the verse that says you're a masterpiece. God created everyone to be perfect in their own way. Everyone watching, you, me, we're all perfect. We spend so much time looking at ourselves and having self-conversation about what we're not. And you're killing yourself. You're all made. You all have something inside of you to be special. You got to go create it. You got to go find it.
Louie Herron. Okay.
You said it right.
Louie Herron.
That's it.
Okay, Louie Herron. Okay. Check it out. Check it out. The book. drivenbyfire.com, drivenbyfire.com, or Amazon. And let me tell you something, whatever you see in Louie and whatever you see in me is in you, because you're a power player, and I can't wait till you sit right there where Louie's sitting.
That's it. And
we find out who you are and how you got where you is. Thanks for watching Power Players. Louie.
Thanks, bro.
Okay, bro. Appreciate it.